Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are group 13 with members Siskayu, Isnaini Maulia, and Vitabella will present a material with the title Sociolinguistic. Okay, first I will explain about sociolinguistics. Sociolinguistics is study the relationship between the language and society. Sociolinguistics examine the relationship between language use and the social world, particularly how language operates within and created social structure. Sociolinguistics conveys social meaning. Sociolinguistics is divided into two. Number one, micro-sociolinguistic or sociolinguistic study of language is the study of potential social factors for a description and explanation of some linguistic variation, such as regional dialect, social dialect, pidgin, and Creole. Number two, macrolinguistic or sociolinguistic study of society is the study of language used to know more about a given society or community, such as bilingualism, language planning, language standardization, etc. Characteristic of sociolinguistic. Number one, sociolinguistic is a branch of linguistics. Number two, a science concerned with the relationship between language and society. Number three, it considers that language is a social and a cultural phenomenon. Number four, it studies language in its social context in real-life situation by empirical investigation. Number five, it is related to methodology and contents of social science. Next, main concept in sociolinguistics. Number one, speech community. Discrete group of people who use language in a unique and mutually accepted way among themselves. Number two, high or low prestige varieties. Speech habits are assigned a positive or negative value which is then applied to the speaker. Number three, social networks. A particular speech community in terms of relations between individual members in a community. Number four, e-language and e-language. Internal language applies to the study of syntax and semantics in language on the abstract level. External language applies to language in a social context.
Social dialect. In a social linguistics, social dialect is a variety of speech associated with a particular social class or occupational group within a society. Also known as a sociolect, group idiolect, and class dialect. Factors that affecting social dialect are social class, education, and occupation. More highly educated speakers and often those belonging to higher social class tend to use more features belonging to the standard language, whereas the original dialect of the duration is better preserved in the speech of the lower and less educated classes. According to the David Crystal Encyclopedia, the term occupational dialect is used as a specific language, which is associated with one's occupation and profession. Social markers. Social markers is a language feature whose usage correlates with both social group and speech style. Speakers are aware of such form and their group association, but do not comment overly about them. There are pronunciation features that function as social marker. Example, one feature is the final pronunciation of ing with n rather than angma at the end of words such as sitting and drinking. Pronunciation represented by sitting and drinking are typically associated with working class speech.
Speech style. According to Martin Jost, it concerns with the form of language which the speaker uses, and of which also characterized by the degree of formality of the discourse. Style shifting. In sociolinguistics, the use of more than one style of speech during the course of a single conversation or written text. Style shifting is a term in sociolinguistics referring to a tension between style of speech included in a linguistic repertoire of an individual speaker. Example of style shifting. When we're talking with our teacher, we usually to be polite and careful to saying something. But when we talking with our friends, we are enjoyable to say many things. We are not scared to showing many expression. Prestige. The degree of respect or importance given to a person by members of society. In sociolinguistics, prestige describes the level of respect accorded to a language or dialect as compared to that of other language or dialect in a speech community. Speech accommodation. In linguistics, accommodation is the process by which participants in a conversation adjust their accent, diction, or other aspect of language according to the speech style of the other participant. Register. Register is a variety of language used on different social situations. In linguistics, the register is defined as the way a speaker uses language differently in different circumstances. Jargon. Jargon is a particular type of language that is used by those engaged in a specific profession or activity. Jargon is the complex language used by experts in a certain discipline or field. Slang is a type of language consisting of words and phrases that are regarded as very informal. Example, the slang term hang loose refers to giving someone the advice to calm down and relax. The term lit refers to something that is amazing. Example is, did you see her new car? It was lit. The term on flag refers to something that has reached perfection. Example is, my hair was on flag this morning.
Vernacular. Vernacular language is a social dialect with low prestige spoken by a lower status group, with marked difference from the standard language. AAVE or African American Vernacular English is a group of dialect of English that developed among African American communities in the United States. AAVE, also known as Ebonic or Black English. AAVE used by many, not all, African Americans in many different regions of the USA. AAVE has a number of characteristic features that taken together form a distinct set of social markers. Common phonological features of AAVE. Initial sound becomes d sound. Them become them. This become this. Then final sound become f sound. So mouth become mouth and path become puff. Deletion of middle and final R. Alright become I. Start become start. Deletion of middle and final L. Help become help. Will become we. Final consonant deletion especially affects nasal. Leaf become li. Reduction of final nasal to vowel nasality. Man become me. Common syntactic feature of AAVE. Zero copula is a deletion of the verb be and its variants. Example, he is a hard worker is the correct form in standard American English. And he a hard worker is the correct form in AAVE. Next, common morphological features of AAVE. Lack of past tense marker, ed. Example, last week he cooked dinner is the correct form in standard American English, and last week he cooked dinner is the correct form in AAVE. Absence of possessive s. Example, here is Jenny's book is the standard of standard American English, and here is Jenny book is the standard for AAVE. Irregular verb form usage. In many instances, a past tense verb is used in a place of a participle and vice versa. For example, she saw him is the standard for standard American English, and she seen him is the standard for AAVE. Another example is she knew he was there is the standard for standard American English, and she know he was there is the standard for AAVE. Next, absence of plural as marker. Example, John got 7 shirts is the standard for standard American English, and John got 7 shirts is the standard for AAVE. Inflection of P. In AAVE, the habitual state is marked by the inflected word P. Example, we sleep all the time is the standard for standard American English, and we be sleep is the standard for AAVE. Use of negation in AAVE. Two significant features. Number 1, ain't is allowed. Example, she ain't coming home today is the standard for AAVE, and she isn't coming home today is the standard for standard American English. Number 2, more than one form of negation can be found in one sentence. Example, she ain't got no money for nobody is the standard for AAVE. Expressing the future. Number 1, gone or gonna, a contraction of going to. Example, we can visit them soon is the standard for AAVE. Number 2, finna, a contraction of fixing to. Example, I'm finna go home is the standard for AAVE. That's all from us. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.